This is the story of Pegasus, the winged horse, and Bellerophon, son of the king of Corinth, and how together they killed the monster, the Chimera. Pegasus was a famous winged horse, a beautiful, fiery, untamed steed, said to have sprung forth from the blood of Medusa the Gorgon, when she was slain by the hero Perseus. Pegasus had flown to Greece, where he was tended by the 9 Muses, and soon became their favorite mount, as well as the favorite of Apollo, the sun god. For the winged horse was so wild and so swift that the Muses and Apollo were the only ones who could even approach him. Being immortal, Pegasus never had been ridden by man until the youth Bellerophon mastered him, and together they overcame the horrendous Chimera. This is their story. Bellerophon is believed to have been the son of Glaucus, king of Corinth. However, rumor had it that Bellerophon was really the son of Poseidon himself, the mighty god of the sea, and this accounted for his many great feats. Renowned for his great skill in taming even the wildest of horses, the bold youth Bellerophon yearned one day to ride the great winged horse Pegasus, whose fame had spread far and wide. So wild and so swift was this noble steed that no mortal had ever ridden him. Bellerophon determined that he would be the first to do so.
Pegasus, what a magnificent creature, and so spirited. Ride him I must, and I will. But how? I don't even know how to start. How can I hope to ride him when I don't even know where to find him? Yet ride him I will.
Bellerophon held this wish so close to his heart that he decided to consult Polyidus, the wise seer, and ask his help. He told him of his great desire to ride the celebrated winged horse, and the oracle advised him to seek the help of the goddess Athena.
Go to the temple of Athena, Bellerophon, and sleep therein. That is the way to seek the help of the goddess, for the gods often visit mortals in their dreams. Sleep in her temple, and the goddess Athena may come to you there, and speak with you while you are asleep.
Bellerophon followed the oracle's bidding. That evening he went to the temple of Athena, the goddess who was said to have taught men the taming of horses as well as the use of chariots. He lay down and soon was fast asleep. As he slept, Bellerophon dreamed that the goddess herself came to him and spoke to him, saying,
Bellerophon, I am Athena, goddess of wisdom. I know of your desire to ride Pegasus, but your efforts will be to no avail, for there is no earthly bridle that can control him. Here, take this celestial bridle of gold and use it to charm the noble Pegasus. With it he will be gentle and obedient to your slightest command. And you, Bellerophon, will be the first of mortals to ride this divine mount. I will leave the bridle beside you here, Bellerophon. Use it wisely. I go now.
When Bellerophon awakened, sure enough, there was the beautiful golden bridle beside him, and he knew that the goddess Athena most assuredly had been there, and that she would help him. Not long thereafter, the great winged horse flew over Corinth. He saw a fine, clear spring below, a spring which Bellerophon's grandfather, King Sisyphus, is said to have gained from the river god Asopus. Pegasus flew down to drink. As Pegasus drank, Bellerophon cautiously stole upon him and flung the bridle over his head. Although surprised, the great horse was neither startled nor afraid. Instead, he raised his head proudly and looked upon Bellerophon, sensing instinctively that here was a friend. Eager to be tested by his new master, the horse neighed, as if in invitation to the rider, and pawed the ground impatiently, eager to be off. Bellerophon leaped upon his back.
All right there, my beauty. Now then, let's see what you can do.
And they were off. Tossing his mane in great delight, Pegasus soared away, and soon horse and rider were flying through the air over land and sea. Never before had there been such riding. It was faster than the wind itself, and both the horse and his new master thrilled to the experience. Now, at long last, Bellerophon had fulfilled his heart's desire, and now assuredly he was lord of the air, and Pegasus was his heart's delight. In the days that followed, Bellerophon became even more renowned as the greatest of horsemen, and as a valiant young hero who accomplished many great deeds for the good of his people at Corinth. And Pegasus proved to be of invaluable help to him in times of need, for many difficult trials were ahead for Bellerophon. Through some kind of accident, Bellerophon is supposed to have killed his own brother. Because of this, he fled to Argos, where he was to be purified by the king, King Proteus. Because he was by far the bravest and most handsome of all the noblemen in Argos, Queen Antea, the king's wife, fell in love with Bellerophon, and did all she could to have him return her affection. Bellerophon, however, spurned Antea, and would have nothing to do with her. Repulsed and scorned, Antea was furious and sought revenge. She went to her husband the king, and accused Bellerophon of crimes he would not think of committing.
I tell you, my husband, it is true. Bellerophon is a false friend and guilty of treason. He has betrayed you, Proteus, for he has broken the bond between guest and host. Oh, swear to me, Proteus. Swear you will avenge this wrong. Swear that he shall pay with his life. I beg of you.
Bellerophon, Antea? No, I cannot believe it. Anyone but Bellerophon. No, it cannot be. It cannot be.
But I swear to you, Proteus, on my oath, you must believe me, my husband.
Again and again, Antea swore that it was so, insisting that Bellerophon pay with his life. Having no proof but his wife's word, King Proteus was unwilling to accuse Bellerophon openly. Nor did he dare to put to death so popular a young hero without just cause. And besides, the divine law of hospitality forbade him from killing anyone who was a guest in his house. Finally, since his wife would not let him alone, he gave in. Yet he decided upon a plan whereby he himself would not kill Bellerophon. Instead, he would send him to his own father-in-law, King Iobates of Lycia, to be killed. And so King Proteus prepared a letter which he sealed and asked Bellerophon to deliver in person to Antea's father, Iobates, king of Lycia, in Asia. In the letter, Proteus asked King Iobates to see that Bellerophon was put to death. Bellerophon took the sealed letter and journeyed to Lycia. Upon his arrival there, he went straight to the palace. He was greeted graciously, and, according to the law of hospitality, was entertained for several days before he was permitted to mention the reason for his journey. Then he knelt before the king and handed him the message. Arise, young man. And what have we here? A message from my son-in-law, Proteus. Oh, then, what does he say? Bravest of all, great hero. What? Request he be put to death. What's this? Do I read aright? Let me read this again. I request he be put to death. Curious letter. Curious indeed. Strange request for Bellerophon's death, and without giving a reason. I know not verily what to do. King Iobates frowned, for he was sorely puzzled. Why, if this young man was so valiant and brave, should he be put to death? Why, indeed? Tall, handsome, and soldier-like in bearing, the young Prince Bellerophon had made a most favorable impression on the king. He seemed to be such a fine young man. Yet surely his son-in-law Proteus must have a good reason for wanting his death. Or did he? Iobates hesitated. He did not want to be personally responsible for Bellerophon's death. He knew of the hostility of Zeus to those who broke the bond between host and guest. So, Iobates decided on an alternative, and addressed Bellerophon in this manner. You have brought me an important message, Prince Bellerophon. For my son-in-law writes me that you are fearless and bold. Tell me, have you ever heard of the Chimera, a monster which has brought great terror to my kingdom?
No, sire.
No man in my entire realm dares face this monster. Now, you, Bellerophon, perhaps you would dare to slay the Chimera and rid my people of this terrible creature?
I dare all things, sire. What does it matter if I should fail? Whether I fail or succeed, I shall still die a hero. Tell me where I can find it.
Bellerophon accepted the king's proposal, and King Iobates was well satisfied with himself and his solution, for he felt assured that Bellerophon would never return, since the Chimera was believed by all to be unconquerable. The monster Chimera was most unusual in appearance. Great in size and strength, and fleet of foot, it had the head of a lion, the hind parts of a dragon, and the body of a goat in between. In addition, this fearful creature breathed unquenchable flames of fire from its great jaws. But with Pegasus to aid him, Bellerophon was able to soar high above the flaming Chimera. With a whisper to Pegasus, he swooped down over the monster. The Chimera roared in rage, lashing his huge serpent-like tail as Pegasus and Bellerophon drew near. Bellerophon had his sword drawn and ready. Aiming carefully, he drove it straight into the Chimera's scaly back. The huge monster roared in pain and reared into the air. But Pegasus already had carried Bellerophon out of his reach. Again, Pegasus swooped down, and Bellerophon struck again, another blow. And again, the hideous creature sprang upward with wild cries so terrible that the very earth shook with the sound. Then Bellerophon attacked for the third time and struck the Chimera a mortal blow, thrusting his sword deep into the Chimera's body. With a final shriek of agony, the great Chimera thrashed about in its death throes until it fell to the ground and breathed its last. The Chimera, the unconquerable Chimera, was dead. At the news of the Chimera's death, there was great rejoicing among the people. The king, however, was bound by ties of kinship with his son-in-law to try again to have Bellerophon killed. Accordingly, he sent him in turn against a fierce tribe called the Solomai, and later against the Amazons, a race of fearless warrior women. Bellerophon defeated both these adversaries and also slew the Lycian warriors who waited in ambush for his return. King Iobates at length realized that Bellerophon was being helped by the gods and did not deserve to die. He rewarded Bellerophon for his courage and uprightness by giving him his daughter in marriage and a sumptuous palace to live in. For years thereafter, Bellerophon continued to ride the great winged horse Pegasus, and they lived happily for a long time. After a while, however, Bellerophon grew proud of his many successes. He became conceited. He decided he would ride Pegasus up to Olympus. Alas for Bellerophon. Zeus sent a gadfly that stung Pegasus as he carried his master higher and higher. So it was that by thinking too great for a mere mortal, he incurred the wrath of the gods. The horse threw his rider, and Bellerophon fell to the ground. Pegasus flew up to Olympus alone, where he was sheltered thereafter in the heavenly stalls, along with the steeds of Zeus. It was Pegasus, foremost of them all, who was chosen by Zeus to bring the thunder and lightning to him, whenever the great Father God desired to use his thunderbolt. And there he stayed, never again to be ridden by man. As for Bellerophon, miraculously he survived the fall. Apparently he had not lost the favor of the gods entirely. Yet he was blinded as a result, and doomed thereafter to wander the earth alone, eating his heart out and avoiding the paths of men. This has been the story of Pegasus, the great winged horse, and Bellerophon, Prince of Corinth, and how together they conquered the monster, the Chimera.